You're just reading it or something off of some...
Will the gentlelady yield to a question?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Will the gentlelady yield?
No, I don't yield. I don't even have time. I can tell you...
Your time's expired.
It is expired, but Mr. Chair...
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and drop a comment down below, because what went down between Rashida Tlaib and Byron Donalds deserves to be talked about. Seriously, this one got heated. Now, if you missed it, this was during a congressional hearing about Washington, D.C., crime, and home rule. And once again, we saw Rashida Tlaib go off on one of her emotional tirades about fascism, Trump, and the beauty of D.C. And then when Byron Donalds tried to respond, she flat out refused to yield. Let's break this down.
Recognizes Ms. Tlaib from Michigan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. You know, I think it's really important. I mean, we're talking about 700,000 people that live here, and I feel like their voice gets completely just dismissed. And so, if I may, Mr. Chair, ask unanimous consent to enter the record the Washington Post poll of D.C. residents found 8 out of 8 in 10 opposed Trump's taking over of their local police and sending in federal troops.
Without objections ordered.
You know, I think it's also really important to understand, like, the incredible kind of slanderous, like, defamation. I don't know what to call it. They're just burying Washington, D.C. You just heard them speak about our nation's capital in that way, in a way that I feel very much like that's not what I see. I see people walking around with their families, people enjoying time to see these beautiful, incredible, beautiful monuments and everything. And there's a pride here, too. And so I just want to bring the D.C. residents into this committee, because I feel like they are being made invisible. And this really ugly picture that is not reflective. And I'm from Detroit. I've seen it happen to my city. And it's despicable in a way that I feel like really goes up against our values. You know, one of the things that I know in every abuse of power that, we let President Trump and the administration get away with in D.C., it will be replicated. It will be expanded across the country, and it is going to tear apart our communities. You know, Mr. Jackson, I talked to you about a little bit about this, but I think it's important to understand that we do have a mental health crisis, that we have a housing crisis, affordability crisis. Can you police any of those away?
No.
You can't police away homelessness. And the way they talk about our homeless neighbors is so, no wonder there's violence increasing towards homeless neighbors. I see it already, the brutality of it. When we see housing costs go up, when we see, again, the lack or dismissiveness of the mental health crisis that we continue to grow. And it's not just this administration, and the previous administrations as well. No one has moved with the urgency that is needed. Just last week, the committee approved over a dozen bills regarding Washington, D.C. And, I'm just curious. Criminalize children. My colleague from Boston talked about this. It basically interfered with legislation already passed by the local government. Was anyone on this panel consulted? Any of you? Raise your hand if you were consulted on any of these bills. Yeah.
We were not.
One of the things that, AG, I've been listening to you. One of the bills actually eliminates your position completely. What effect would that have? Completely eliminating your position in regards to be able to do the job that you do to protecting all the families in Washington, D.C.?
We'll start with the fact that more than 70% of the residents of the District of Columbia overwhelmingly voted for having an independent elected attorney general.
That's right.
And that's a recognition of the fact that when an attorney general is directly accountable to the people, directly responsive to the people, we are much better at doing our job in terms of addressing housing affordability and conditions in slumlords, seniors and consumers who are being scammed, addressing the issues that are most important to D.C. residents, because I am accountable to them.
I read wage theft is an issue, workplace discrimination. There's a number of issues that need to be addressed, and they're not going to address that. They want to paint you all as this ugly, dark, all just out in the street. The way it's just unbelievable, because they all live here. I don't see it. I don't see what they see. I don't understand why we're allowing that to happen, because I actually think it's going to hurt our communities. People are going to look at Washington, D.C. folks in a way that I think is going to be very painful, but also, you know, I don't know, Mr. Jackson, I heard the stories. People didn't leave their homes. They weren't leaving their homes. Businesses didn't see people coming into, I mean, that's what we want in our nation's capital. Stay in your house. Don't move. Don't go anywhere. Stay fearful. It's unbelievable that my colleagues continue again to eject this narrative and this rhetoric in regards to.
Toward the end of her time, Tlaib launches into this rant about fascist takeovers. Her exact words. She says, "We need to stand up against this fascist takeover." That's not a bad word, it's a fact. And at that point, you could see Byron Donalds' face. He'd had enough. He jumps in, asks her to yield, and she refuses. Flat out says, "I don't yield." Then she keeps going on about how DC shouldn't be painted in a bad light. And that's when Donalds calls her out, because the implication of her fascist comment was pretty clear. She was comparing him and other Republicans to the Third Reich.
But I think it's important, Mr. Chair, just like in D.C., home rule was one out of black freedom struggle in the fight for civil rights, we can't be passive right now. So nobody over there should take anything we say like so personally as if we're attacking them. No, we're attacking a process. We're not attacking people here. And I think it's really important. We need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact. And here in D.C. and across the country, it is so incredibly important, Mr. Chair, that this committee does not allow rhetoric that defames and or paints Washington, D.C. in a way that you all haven't really truly seen. You're just reading it. No, you're just reading it or something off of some.
Will the gentlelady yield to a question?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Will the gentlelady
No, I
yield?
don't yield. I don't even have time. I can tell you.
Your time's expired.
It is
Ms.
expired. But
Tlaib,
Mr. Chair, but you all live
like
here,
Ms.
and
Tlaib.
you're not telling people the beautiful parts that you do see in our
Ms.
nation's
Tlaib.
capital. And no, it's just wrong how we're doing it.
Chairman, I think
Wrong.
it's insane that the
But you're
gentlelady
gonna
doesn't
look
have
at
an
the
argument, but she's going to
Washington, D.C. as a
refer
bunch
to
of
me and some of
criminals.
my
You yield to
colleagues.
Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Donald.
We were
you
from the
know
Third
this.
Reich. This is
You're
insane.
gonna look at
It's
14,
insane.
15-year-olds as
It's
a bunch of
insane.
criminals?
It's insane.
Oh,
Do I look like a
you're
member of the
insane,
Third Reich to you, Ms.
Please,
Tlaib?
please,
Is that what I look like
please.
to you?
You're the one taking your voting
Is that what
card,
you think?
giving it
Is
to
that what you
somebody,
think?
giving
Is
it
that
a
what you
card.
think?
No, that's unethical.
I think it's radical and I think it's
No, you
insane.
should
And I'll
be held
respect everything that you say.
accountable.
But to
Before you
say
open your
something
mouth,
like
you
that
should be
to
held
myself and a lot of my colleagues is way out of line.
I'm not the
It's
one
way out of
giving
line.
my voting
It's
card
way out of
to
line.
someone
Regular
to
order,
go
Mr.
vote.
Way out of
You
line.
don't wanna vote.
Regular order.
That's okay. But it's okay,
No,
right?
That is not how it
It's
goes.
okay, right?
You hold yourself accountable before you talk about
Hold
Washington,
myself
D.C.
accountable.
Mr. Tlaib.
Washington,
Hold
D.C.
your
out
own
of your
self
mouth.
accountable. How
Keep
about
it out of
that?
your mouth.
Hold your own
I'm
self
trying,
accountable.
Mr.
How about that?
Free D.C. and make sure you
All right.
vote with your own voting card. Don't be giving it to
Ms.
somebody else.
Tlaib. All right, time. Chair recognizes Ms. Boebert from Colorado. Order. Wait a minute, Ms. Boebert. All right. Order. Ms. Boebert.
What we witnessed here wasn't just a political disagreement, it was a full display of how ideological arrogance destroys meaningful dialogue. Tlaib wasn't there to debate, she was there to lecture, to play the victim on behalf of DC, to frame Republicans as oppressors, and to cast herself as the righteous defender of democracy. Meanwhile, Byron Donalds, one of the few members of Congress who consistently keeps his composure, tries to inject some sanity, and immediately he's branded as a fascist. It's the modern left's playbook. When they lose the argument on policy, they switch to emotional theatrics. They redefine words. They weaponize history. They cry fascism when you simply believe in law and order. And this isn't new for Tlaib. She's done this before. From defending violent protests to calling Israel an apartheid state, to smearing political opponents as racists or extremists. It's a pattern. But what's worse is that this rhetoric divides Americans. It teaches people that disagreement equals evil, that if you think differently, you're an enemy. Here's the truth, guys. This exchange between Rashida Tlaib and Byron Donalds wasn't just a shouting match. It was a snapshot of where our politics are right now. We're living in a time where facts are secondary to feelings, where the left would rather perform outrage than have a real debate, where calling someone a fascist is easier than addressing why your policies failed. And that's why these hearings matter, because every time someone like Byron Donalds stands his ground, calmly, firmly, unapologetically, it reminds us that not everyone in Congress is afraid to speak the truth. It reminds us that leadership isn't about how loud you can shout, or how many buzzwords you can throw into a 5-minute rant. It's about being accountable. It's about results. So while Rashida Tlaib rants about fascism, regular Americans are wondering why their grocery bills keep rising, why their neighborhoods feel unsafe, and why Washington keeps ignoring real problems. If Democrats want to defend DC, upper then Wanen. Fine, what, for Bertines, but defend it with honesty. Admit the crime. Admit the dysfunction. Then fix it. Until then, all we'll keep seeing are these emotional performances from people like Tlaib, and calm, reasoned pushback from conservatives like Byron Donalds who still believe in order, accountability, and truth. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, let me know what you think of Rashida Tlaib's fascist takeover remark, and share this video so more people see what's really going on inside Congress. I'll see you in the next one. Stay informed, stay grounded, and stay free.